Hello, I'm Martin Murphy. I produced some slides about leading yourself through challenging times, and quite a few people have asked me to narrate and create a little video. So hopefully this will be of help. If you want a PDF of these slides, just send an email to ask@martinmurphy.coach. There's some emails at the back end of it. Or you can find me on Twitter and stuff like that. It's Elite Leader Coach. Just send us a message. So when we're approaching challenging times, one of the first things that is quite important to remember is that we're not very good at handling challenges that are coming off from a distance or seem far away. So you can see that with things like global climate change, this pandemic that's been approaching for quite a while now, and what we tend to go into is kind of this when it happens, as this bereavement curve shows here, we're going to this shock to start with. We're shocked by what's happening, and we're going a bit of a denial situation. Then we'll probably become angry, blame. Some people will be blaming Donald Trump, some people will be blaming the Chinese, and so there's this anger that who's let this happen to us, if you like. And then of course confusion, depression. At some point we want to get to the point where we accept, look, we have got a challenge, we need to solve it, and that's when we can start solving the problem. And then if we're really effective, we'll see the new opportunities that are on the horizon. Really, we want to get from where we want to cross this dip as quickly as possible. Excuse me. We want to cross this dip as quickly as possible and get to the new opportunities. And that means being quite proactive. I always say to clients, get to reality as quickly as possible, and then you can work from there. The reason why we're not very good at it is we often revert back to a childlike state. If you can imagine the child being the victim, persecutor could be the father that's telling the child off, the rescuer is the mother that comes in and goes, oh, don't shout at the child. And because of this, we can sometimes, in fear situations, we can revert back to an earlier form of ourselves. Some people never do get past this stage. And I call it the victim trap here. What we want to do as a leader and leading ourselves, we want to be the creator of our own solutions. If you've got people around you that are acting like a victim or confused about what to do, you really want to be the coach. You don't want to be rescuing people unless they really need it, but change it to a coaching situation as soon as you can, where you get them to be the creator of their own solutions. And quite often, that people will think that they're being persecuted, that this is personal, and that this is pervasive. It's not. You just have to see it as a challenge, and you kind of want to remember and try and catch yourself if you start becoming the victim. As soon as you can take responsibility for as much as you possibly can do, work on what you've got control of, the more likely that you then can have an effective response and get across that curve, that dip, as quickly as possible. So developing your hero mindset, be helpful. It's a really good idea to be helpful to other people, because that gets you outside of your own worries, if you like. Having a sense of purpose to help other people. If you look at Viktor Frankl in his book Man's Search for Meaning, he found that he was a Austrian psychologist that was in the prison camps, the Nazi prison camps. He found the people that had a sense of purpose. I'm going to survive this, make sure it doesn't happen again, get my family back together again. Those that had this sense of purpose about doing something, they survived longer. So being helpful to other people is about looking after other people. It gets you out of your own problems. Be effective, helpful and then effective. You're confident, you've all got different skills. Be effective in implementing those to help other people. This will make you more resilient and also optimistic. So optimism, we not only are pandemics, the actual viruses shared human to human, our emotions are shared human to human. So to be the hero in this sense, of course, is about just being helpful, being effective, being resilient, and being optimistic, because you want other people to do the same thing as well. Yeah. Okay, so it's important to know the types of challenges you face, because we have different personalities, and as a result of that, we'll see the challenge in different ways, and that will sometimes blind us by, we'll sometimes be blinded by our own bias. Okay, so have a look at these next ones and decide what kind of challenge you're in. So predictable challenges, a simple behavior change affects positive result. So have a look at standing operating procedures in your business, maybe personal habits. We've all started hand washing, which is great. Maybe puts together some immediate action drills to put out immediate fires. What happens if someone's sick? What are you going to do? Where are you going to put them? How are you going to do isolation, for instance, just with this coronavirus pandemic that we're going through at the moment? Simple behaviors to overcome immediate challenges. You might need some analysis. You might need some expert help. Write a list down of the kind of things that you need, get some checklists going, and then look at the processes that are normally happening on a regular basis, and do you need to change those? Those are all fairly predictable things that you can do straight away with simple challenges and maybe more complicated stuff. The problem that we're in now, of course, is that, well, if you just rely on predictable solutions, which governments tend to do, every problem then becomes if the only solutions you've got are that you've got a hammer, the only tool you've got is a hammer, every problem becomes a nail. And the problem with the situation that we're in now, it's unpredictable. And so we need to be a bit more sophisticated and adaptable in our responses. So complex problems are usually to do with people, meaning that each individual will probably need something slightly different. So you need to connect with people. You need to co-create solutions with your family, with your friends, with your team, and kind of feel your way forward. And you need to utilize empathy with this. Emotional intelligence is the realm of complexity, and so one solution won't fix all things in these unpredictable times that we're in. Have a look at the structure that you're in. Obviously, all being together in the same environment isn't a good idea at the moment. So you need to look at changes to the environment, the setup, the location. Changes to the location may all provide positive benefits, but keep an eye on the effectiveness of your communications, and also the possibility of unintended consequences. There'll be second and third order effects happening in unpredictable solutions. You put up. I often say it's a bit like playing the whack-a-mole game, where you whack the mole on the head with a hammer, and the mole pops up in another hole, and whack it over there, and it pops up again somewhere else. So just beware of that in unpredictable situations when you're creating solutions for them. Don't see that as that's the definitive plan. It's going to be evolving all the time. Obviously, this is a systemic thing that will contain elements of all the above, and so a paradigm shift is reasonably required. Going to work every day was the paradigm shift we had. Now it's not. There will also be opportunities to thrive in a brave new world, but the old order will resist. You can really see this as kind of if systemic challenges are not addressed properly, if we always use symptomatic solutions to complex and systemic problems instead of fundamental solutions, then they'll return. It's because a systemic challenge, or one of these other unpredictable and structural or complex things wasn't sorted before, and so quite often when systemic challenges have been ignored, it leads to a black swan event, which is the emergency situation that we're in now. And quite often these are caused because we've not addressed things properly in the past, or we've ignored them. We've done this denial thing because the old order resists you doing it. People prefer living in a way that suits them, and so they won't change the situation. So we see this with global climate change. We'll see that with the banking recessions and the pandemic we see now. We've had 10 years of austerity, so therefore the NHS is closed off, isn't able to cope with the kind of opportunities that we're going now. So this is when we need a paradigm shift. So yeah, have a look at that. See if you can find anything in any of those that will help you in your present situation. So I talk about 7 fears. Obviously, there are lots of fears, but these are the same 7 that I come across most when people are looking at having to make changes and leaders having to make changes. You've got to make sure that they don't negatively influence your decision making, because obviously, if you don't respond in an effective way, then you're just making the situation worse and you won't resolve the situation. So letting the other person be right. Okay, we don't listen to outside views a lot. We don't like if they're in opposition to us, especially with politics. Is why politics is pointless, in my opinion, because it's a false dichotomy. There is no left wing and right wing. It's like having a left hand and a right hand. They need to work together, not be in opposition with each other. So we're letting the other person be right. Obviously, the status gained by being the right, being the font of all knowledge. Modern leadership and leading yourself is not about that. So listen to other views, check the credibility, but also if they jar with your own personal model of the world, then allow that to happen. We're not very good at accepting reality. We have a fear of accepting reality because as soon as we do that, we then have to pay the price. Even in the face of overwhelming evidence, like global climate change or whatever, pandemics coming towards us, we'll just see what's going to happen. No, get to reality as quickly as possible, and you need to understand what that reality is by doing your own research. Don't rely on other people. Fact check as much as you can. Being vulnerable, in order for us to learn something, we have to have the courage to be open to new ideas. I quite often use the metaphor here about hermit crabs. In order for a hermit crab to leave the small world that it's in and go to a bigger, better world, it has to be vulnerable at some time. It has to let go of the old and allow itself to be vulnerable to get to the new place. And there'll be a lot of that at the moment. Stopping, we often carry on because it's familiar. Better the devil we know. Have you ever been in a cinema and carried on watching a rubbish film, hoping it might get better, but it never did, but you stayed to the end anyway? We're not very good at stopping. We have a fear of stopping because we might fear we're missing out on something. Letting go. Our inner monkey doesn't like letting go. Marketing experts rely on this. Try this product for 30 days. If you don't like it, we'll give you your money back. But by which time your inner monkey's going, no, I don't want to let go of it. And so therefore letting go. Well, that counts for beliefs, old decisions, old ways of working. We're likely to have quite a transformation going forward. So we have to be prepared to let go of things that just aren't working for us. And the quicker we can do that, the better. It means that, once we've created a vacuum, the universe will fill it with something better, hopefully. So we have to be proactive in letting go of old ideas. The unknown, we prefer being comfortably uncomfortable in our comfort zones, I say, because the pain of what we're in at the moment isn't as scary. We get used to it, and so we then don't think, oh well, what happens if we change dramatically? And so that fear of the unknown keeps us in the pain that we're in already. And the last one there is number 7, transformation. It's said that people don't like change, and I say, well, that's untrue really. People change all the time to stay in the same place. They change the colour of their hair, change the channel on TV. What we don't like doing is transforming, and this is because it levels the playing field. It's a paradigm shift, and so the people at the top of the hierarchy, they will not like you changing the system, even though it's not in your favour. For all the things that have been going on, they don't want you to be right. They don't want to accept reality. They don't want to be vulnerable. They don't want to stop doing what they're doing, even though they might know that it's not working. They certainly don't want to let go of their privilege and position, and they don't like the unknown, what's going to happen to them. So as a result of that, they keep everything the same. So the fears mentioned previously, it's all about paradigm shifting to success. This is kind of evolution, if you like. But because of the fears, we end up with paradigm blindness. We don't see the opportunities within the crisis because we're focused on the problem or focused on keeping the paradigm that we're in now. This, again, leads to paradigm inertia. We're being told to swim away from one shark, only to find that there's another shark waiting behind us. And because of those fears that we mentioned earlier, that actually stops us from doing what we should do, which is paradigm shift, get out the damn water. Move, create new rules, new strategies, new modus operandi, new values and new behaviours. Basically, we can create a brave new world from this if we're allowed to do so, or if we take charge and do it for ourselves. So, the leader sets a tone. There's usually 3 types of responses in challenges. Obviously, there's fear-focused. If you find yourself consuming lots of media in the hope of finding some good news, that'll all be well soon. You're not going to find it. It's going to be here for a while. With fear, with fear in your system, that releases cortisol and adrenaline. You've got that low-level anxiety always going on. It's very difficult to have clarity of thought. So you need to kind of get away from that. When you're unfocused, you'll often be unsure of what to do. You'll stay in the denial phase, or you'll play the wait and see game and just see, wishing that things will get better, and probably dismiss some of the challenges ahead because we've got that acceptance of reality, fear of accepting reality. So you're waiting for everything to return to business as usual. And I kind of see the government doing quite a lot of that. Big organisations will do this, unfocused about what they should do. We just want to get back to business as usual. If we do that, as I said before, if you just wait for business as usual, then obviously it's not very a proactive thing to have happen. So what you really want to be doing is to get mission focused. You kind of want to roll your sleeves up and get your team and family or network together, explain the situation as it is, and ask for ideas, and together come up with a plan of action and a compass for moving forward. You're trying to you're looking to cross that dip as quickly as possible and springboard out the other side and be more agile. You're not going to do that by being fear focused or unfocused. So get focused, and you as a person leading yourself will make you feel better if you kind of be more proactive. So be a leader. A leader doesn't, you can be part of a family. You can all be leaders. Everyone can be a leader in their own way, because leading is about leveraging the potential of your potential, other people's potential, and the potential within the environment. Don't try to be the font of all knowledge or solutions. It's just leveraging the potential of others, and engage people in relevant discussions as early as possible. Align yourself towards a purpose and mission and purpose. What is it you want to achieve? Even if you're just stuck in, self-isolation. Okay, well, what are you going to do while you're here? How are you going to leverage more of your potential? What are you going to learn? What, even if it's about, people have said like writing their book or reading a book, maybe you haven't done that for a while, but get yourself a mission and purpose. Direct the power up to you. Okay. We often give our power away to other people, to the governments or to our bosses or to whatever it might be. In situations like this, direct the power to yourself. Don't leave your fate in the hands of others. Research has shown that people who question doctors when they're ill and take control of their own medication and sort of look for alternatives as well. So as well as listening to experts, they also look and do their own research. They become more empowered and they suffer less stress and are more effective as a result. Going back to that hero thing about hope, helpful, effective, resilient, and optimistic. So direct the power of yourself. Take control of the situation. By all means, listen to experts, but You be the decider of your own fate. And when you make a plan, I say that no plan withstands first contact with reality. So evolve the plan as more information arises. This is an evolving situation. It'll probably get worse before it gets better. So the plan needs to adapt. So in order for you to do that, be radically open. Treat people like adults. Conversely, don't be kept in the dark and fed on a load of manure. Ask the difficult questions. Do your own research. Self-awareness, know yourself and your network, your family, the people that you're around, your team, and be able to adapt to the shifting situation. And then you'll not fear the results of 100 battles. That's kind of a play on Sun Tzu's idea from The Art of War. Lessons are repeated until they're learned. I have to be careful with this because I tend to go off on one. We've had recessions in the past, they keep coming back. We've had pandemics in the past and they're coming back. Global climate change, the climate's changing and it's going to get worse. All those three things, that's just three. Inequalities, going up. And so, the problems that we're facing are going to get worse because lessons are repeated until they're learned. And basically, this may well be termed a black swan event, but we'll probably find if we do a root cause analysis that we'll find out what the root cause was. It will be a certain simple behavior that needed to be stopped. And because that wasn't stopped, because we didn't get expert analysis and we reacted to that for whatever paradigm inertia and paradigm blindness that we're in, other things will happen. There'll be another pandemic after this at some point. So we need to learn the lessons. If your business is going through a hard time, if you're working for someone and they dump you because of this, okay, lessons are repeated until they're learned. What do you need to learn? Look at the lessons that need to be learned from this situation. This is another way of empowering yourself so that you can prepare yourself for the future, or maybe start taking action to kind of be a leader and be vocal in your community, in your family, in your community, and then maybe possibly the wider world, because these things will come back again. Important to know what your fear and confidence triggers are. This is based on your own personality. What's going to increase your feelings of confidence? Is it being, some people like having certainty and control. Some people like to be in command, so therefore they like status because that gives them that command. Some people like close connection and they like to be treated fairly. Some people like freedom and their social face. They don't like to be shown up in public, if you like, self-esteem. And so, when you're dealing with people in your family or in your team or even yourself, it's important, again, that self-awareness, know what's going to trigger feelings of unease or an anxiety. If you like a lot of certainty in your life, then again, bringing the power back to you will give you that certainty and control. Focus on what you can control, not what's outside of your control. Be in command of yourself and, connection. If you like close connection with other people, but you're in isolation, this is a proximity thing. Don't, it's not social isolation. Use communication to get in touch with other people. And the same, again, if you know someone and you're being helpful, effective, resilient, optimistic, be helpful to people, stay in contact with people. That someone will be feeling that this is like personal and, pervasive to them type of thing. So feeling it's unfair. It is an unfair situation. So make them feel better about that. And also with you, do the same to you. Nurture yourself. Autonomy and self-esteem. Yeah, okay. You've still got that chance to get out there in the mountains, in the hills, go for a walk. There's plenty of stuff. Look for the opportunity to increase novelty in your life. But yeah, it's a good idea to address all these with good communication with people, and don't let the fear start taking over. So in times of crisis and challenges, difficult challenges, be supportive with other people. Here are some promote positive strengths. Like I said before, emotions pass from person to person as just as viruses do. Being a model of excellence for other people, be supportive, show compassion towards clients, family members, their family members, teams, and the community. And you can do this by communicating often and offering to help. Be a problem solver. If you come up with a problem, habitually solving problems is key to building confidence and self-reliance. Be results focused. Confusion leads to dissipation of effort, so be focused on just achieving some small outcomes. If you're stuck indoors for a couple of weeks, get fit or read a book or learn something new. But just give yourself some small goals that it gives you that positive benefit from psychologically by achieving small goals, if you like, small wins. And again, using social intelligence, it'll shine lights on opportunities and new ideas. Look for the new opportunities, the challenges within the opportunities within the crisis. Quite often we have this thing about, well, what if this happens? What if this, in a negative way, asking what if these negative consequences happen? If be aware that other people will be doing this. So if you can be helpful by giving people a psychologically safe space, members of your family, even the confident people, normally this is going to be quite upsetting and they're going to be asking themselves a lot of what if questions. This is like the inner monkey or the inner child suddenly becoming quite fearful because everything's changing. As we said, we fear the unknown. And so we'll trigger this fear response and there'll be lots of questions being asked. It's really important that you answer the what ifs, okay? Even if you don't know the answer, you've got to make something up. You've got to create an answer, generate an answer. And because it's your unconscious, irrational inner monkey, shall we say, that you're trying to calm down. So if you find yourself asking what ifs or someone saying what if, just say, so what? We'll do X, Y, and Z, okay? And just kind of remain upbeat when you're answering the questions. If you don't answer these what ifs, they build up over time, and we tend to just suppress them, but then they come back as big feelings of powerlessness. It could be a collapse of confidence. Basically, it'll turn into a situation where we haven't got a positive state inside us. We're actually feeling quite negative about it and depressed and anxiety, as we said on that bereavement curve. So make sure that you answer all the what ifs and calm your inner monkey down, if you like. When you're in challenging and novel situations, it often feels like you should come to a solution quickly. That's not going to be obviously always the case. The thing to do then is not to go, oh God, I don't know what to do. Obviously, if it's an immediate danger, do something, put the fire out, whatever it might be. Take care of business immediately. That's like a mission critical, I call it. But our irrational mind doesn't like knowledge gaps, so we'll often fill in the blanks and go back to the tried and tested. And tried and tested in a novel situation is not going to work. Okay, so when in doubt about moving forward, I say, if in doubt, soar. Suspend making a snap decision. Your mind won't do it. Your mind will try and give you an answer. Just resist having these solutions come flying at you from all sorts of directions in your head. Observe the challenge from all angles and get outside perspective where possible. Check your sources, but analyze it. Listen to people who are credible. Those without an agenda. But just spend a lot of time observing this situation, analysing it. Then let go of it altogether. Okay, allow time for wisdom to percolate. Take your dog for a walk in the countryside. If you're working with your family, or you're with your family or your team, tell them to go and have a break and all go for a walk together. Obviously, bearing in mind we're going to be 2 meters apart from each other if they're not direct family. But yeah, go do something. Even if it's go and wash the dishes, go and wash your car or something like that. Just start doing something else will stop the busy mind from operating. We call it hypotransient frontalis, which is sort of like temporary suspension of the prefrontal cortex. And what that does, it stops that inner judge, inner negativity, communicating with you, that busy mind, and replaces it, especially if you go for walking or you're out in nature or meditating even, replaces it with like more positive neurotransmitters, should we say. So like you replace the cortisol with adrenaline, not adrenaline, endorphins, anandamide, glutamate, all these positive things that help you think. And once your mind's been asked a question, it will carry on working on it till it's got the right answer. So just allow time for wisdom to percolate. Get outside, do something different, wash the dishes, but just beware that then it will trigger. You will get an answer will bubble up to the surface, and if say you wake up with it, make sure you've got pen and paper by the side of the bed. Make sure you act on it, make a note of it, try and take action on it as soon as possible, because once you've lost that alpha state, which is like kind of more relaxed and focused, and you get that busy mind, more alert mind, then you'll lose that idea. So make sure you respond well when good ideas come along. If there are tough decisions to make, ask the people concerned, your family or people in your team, and try and come to a democratic decision. As I said, treat people as adults, tell them as it is, use the collective intelligence to solve problems where possible. Don't rush, analyse all the options, decide on a strategy collectively with your network or family or community. Ecology check those chosen solutions. So, okay, ask what can go wrong. We often don't do an ecology checking situation. It tends to be very much command control. Ecology is about having some sort of emotional intelligence. What could go wrong? What support do I need or do others need? Who's going to be affected by this? So you need to use empathy in this. Then execute the strategy as effectively as you can, but evaluate the results. Be prepared to adapt. It's an unfolding situation, and as I said, no plan withstands first contact with reality. So be prepared to adapt. Don't see decisions as finite. We should always be evolving towards to be on the path of excellence, if you like. Create a mission pact. Develop a wise mission which is worthwhile, inspiring, stretching, and evolving. They're going to be tough times, so write a list of the challenges and accept them. How are you going to overcome them? Accept them, that you're going to have to face them. It's about being the idealistic realist. You've got a mountain to climb. We've all got a mountain to climb. We will get to the top of that mountain, but just be realistic and accept that there's going to be challenges along the way. Make a commitment to succeed and not succumb to fear. Have a sense of purpose, and you are going to survive this, and you are going to take action towards it. Take the next step. Persistent action, not analysis, leads to clarity and success. The mountains move by picking up the first pebble. Get to it. It seems like a big thing that we're going through at the moment. Be the idealistic, realistic, and get cracking on it. If you're having trouble seeing the wood from the trees, as I said before, try the thing about stop, pause, stop, and if in doubt, soar, suspend trying to make decisions, but also, get some help. Ask from friends and family if you know a coach. Speak to a coach. If you want to get in touch with me, at the end you'll find some contact information. But if you'd like an experienced advisor to gain clarity on your situation, or if you want someone to come in and make some, facilitate decision making during this challenging time, we can do it online. And also, if you like support for somebody who's undergoing a transformation, if you haven't got the resources for that, then I don't mind. I'll help out where I can. There's a bit of blurb about me. You can read all this. There's a link on Twitter for this set of slides. And there's also a book. So, alignment with teams talks about you know, how we're going to solve volatile, complex, and fast-changing world we live in. We need to learn this kind of stuff now. I hope some of that stuff was useful. Give me some feedback if you've got any, and yeah, good luck.